Good morning, everyone. Up today, so I just want to make sure you can see and hear me. You can see my fingertips, and hopefully you can hear me. If not, but I think we should be okay. All right. So look, if there's a problem, just text me here, send me a WhatsApp, and I will see it coming. And hopefully it's working. So today I'd like to try and focus on really staying present in our body. Because sometimes we talk about mindfulness and being in the moment, and it can be really difficult to even know what it means. Whereas I find that if we're trying to be in our body, and just noticing what's happening in the body, which part is moving, which part isn't, then, well, technically we are in the moment as well. We're really focusing on something precise, something that's real, and that is happening right now. So, let's warm up, and I will develop on that thing. If you come to the front of your mat, join your feet together and just take a few moments to sway from side to side, to shift the different joints, the ankles, the knees, the hips. The shoulders may be rolling, wrists, whichever you need, the neck. And just be really aware of which part of your body you're moving. And then slowly coming to a very still position. And noticing the very small movements that are still happening in your body. So being still when you're standing is quite difficult. And there's always, very often, a very small swaying. And just notice, where is that swaying in your body? Sometimes it will be from side to side, sometimes from back to front. You're going to try and imagine the central axis for the body. That would be vertical, so straight from earth to sky. And that would come to the center of your body. So it could be right to the center of your head, and coming all the way down, reaching the center of your throat. So passing in front of the ears, just where the ear canal is. Just breathe along that axis and notice the movement in relation to it. So with every inhale, you might try and lengthen up towards the top, but without tensing. And with every exhale, softening around that pole. And notice the movement of the breath in your body, and let your upper body move freely with the breath, but going with that feeling of the breath coming in and out, and up and down. So everything going from the center to the outer layers. And seeing if you can keep your legs and arms really steady, because technically the breath doesn't come into them. So you might feel the breath reaching up to your collarbones, and that will bring your shoulders a little bit up. But try and maybe let the shoulders move because you're relaxed and your breath is deep. But your arms themselves are very steady. The shoulder joints don't move, the elbows, the wrists, and the fingers. So really focusing on also what makes your body move. So the breath, the diaphragm is moving in your body as you breathe, and that generates movement. into your chest, into your tummy, maybe into your back, into your pelvic floor, into your vocal cords, all the way up to your throat. Maybe you can feel very slight movement on your facial muscles as you breathe in and out. Just try and pay attention and maybe list all those parts in your awareness. And notice that the points that are around that central axis is this still, or you're trying to keep them still, aligned, lengthening away from the floor to the sky, but not moving out of alignment as you breathe in and out. And now, as we're keeping that alignment, we're going to see if with an inhale, we can reach the arms out to the side and all the way up without moving anything else. As you exhale, you bring the arms down. Really focus on your whole upper body and legs, keeping them really snug into the shoulder joint. You're not even moving the elbows, the wrists, and the fingers. Moving with your breath and noticing. And if it feels good, then you might want to stretch a little upwards at the end of your inhale. And in this case, you are going to stretch your body from this floor to the earth, to the sky, but still around that central axis. So maybe there'll be more space between the ribs. Maybe the ribs are going to move away from the hips, but they're not tilting. So you're not trying to arch your back or letting the hips come out of alignment. You just notice how being taller, full of air, you can keep that same movement in your body. On the next inhale, you're going to keep your arms up. You're going to turn your palms to face forward. And you're just going to breathe here. So trying to find again a very relaxed, tall and steady postures where it's the exact same as what it was earlier, but your arms are upwards. So relax the shoulders, feel the movement of the breath, notice that center axle, and you want your arms to be either side of the axis. And on the next exhale, bring them down out to the side. Inhale, reach up again. And on the exhale, you might soften your knees a little bit and tilt your pelvis, and you're going to keep that upper body alignment very still. So you're only moving the hips and maybe moving the legs, bending the legs a little, and you're coming into that straight back, like nothing between my ribs, my head, my arms haven't moved. As I inhale, I'm only working the legs to come back up. Exhale, only moving the arms to bring them down. So my hips, chest, and head don't move at all. Let's try this again. Inhaling, moving only the arms, lengthening up along the axis. Exhaling, keeping that plane in the upper body, and just going as far as you can without changing the direction of the upper body. So if you were here and we can breathe into that lunge, that axis would still go from the top of your head through the center of your head, throat, rib cage, front of your spine, and out through the sacrum or in between your seat bones. And your arms will be right over to the sides of that axis. Let's inhale, reach up, and exhale, bring the hands down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, come back into that. It's not really a chair pose, it's just a leaning forward. Then we're going to inhale here and exhale this time. Let yourself round. Come down towards your feet. Your hands are in front of your feet on the fingertips. As you inhale, see if you can come to a straight back. So you might have to bring your arms up onto your legs. And you're going to try and, again, have the shoulders to the side of the body, top of the arms to the side of the body. You're not reaching forward with your chin. You're not reaching forward with the lower ribs. You've got that nice straight alignment from your hips to your ribs to your head. See if you can find a place where your arms are straight and your legs are straight. I'm trying to find steadiness. So today is going to be a bit of a slow class. I'm going to take a few breaths. Try and maybe take a breath or two at the start to make yourself comfortable in the pose, because we're going to stay there for 5 to 10 breaths. Then find a place where you can be there and be comfortable, and trying to line yourself up to that axis. So wherever it is, and then try and be really steady. Try and only feel the movement around the one part of the body that's moving, so expanding around that central axis. On the next breath out, bring your hands to the floor and step your feet back, drop your knees, and let's come to hands and knees first. So you can tuck your toes under and have a look at your lower legs or at your thighs, and you want a little space between your thighs. You want the knees to be straight down from the hips. So imagine your thigh bones and have them parallel from your hips to the floor. And then make sure that your shins are parallel behind you as well. So if you're looking straight down, you shouldn't see your feet because they'll be behind your thighs. And then you do the same thing with your hands. They're straight down under the shoulders. So if you look at your arms, you want them to be parallel, both vertical from the floor up. When you've got that position set up, as you exhale, let's drop your navel towards your spine and see if you can keep your legs and your arms very steady and only move your spine. So breathing slowly with your own breath, keeping your arms and your legs totally still. Inhale, curve the spine, extend it with the head looking forward. Exhale, flex the spine, drawing the head in and the navel in. But again, trying to keep your arms and your legs very steady. And as you're breathing, notice the articulation of the shoulders and the hips. So usually if you're walking, if you're holding stuff, you're moving your arms from the shoulder joints. And now we're moving the body around the head of the arms and the head of the thighs. So just notice that feeling. Inhaling, arching. Exhaling, curving. Arms and legs really steady, breathing as fast or as slow as you like. And trying to keep a feeling of length along the spine. So when you're arching or when you're bending, try to not crush it together, but rather expand around the line. And on the next inhale, come back to center and lift only the right hand and put your right elbow where your right hand was. So you can see, because you're only doing it one hand at a time, so you can see the line of the other. And then you do the left hand and you come into that forearm position. Now take a moment to notice if your spine is in the same position as it was when you were standing. So like if your lower ribs are dipping, your tailbone is coming up, then you're gonna have to engage the navel. So draw the navel in towards the spine, draw the lower ribs in, and then expand from the tailbone, so diagonally across the tailbone and the neck. Now trying to shift your weight onto the left leg without moving anything. So find a position where you can just shift the weight onto the left leg and very slowly, without moving anything else, extend the right leg up. Now you can breathe here, and then we can exhale. Try and draw the knee back and let it come a little more forward towards the chest with your toes just sliding on the floor. And inhaling, extending the leg back. And we're doing this without moving the spine. So as we exhale, I'm going to slide the toes on the floor, bring the knee towards the chest. And inhale, extend the leg back. Shoulders aren't moving, spine isn't moving, left hip isn't moving. Inhale, lengthen up. And exhale, knee to chest. One last inhale. And exhale. Slowly bring your foot back into position. And come back to center. Take a breath in the center. Notice what you need to move. Shift the weight onto the right side, moving as little as you can. And inhale, stretch the left leg out. Exhale, moving only the left leg. Bring it knee to chest, toes sliding on the floor. Inhale, extend it back. Exhale, bring it in. And keep your head also really steady. Exhale, bring the knee in. Inhale, extend it out. One more. And on the next exhale, slowly, without moving anything else, place the left leg back on the floor and shift the weight back onto both knees. And then we can look forward. Place our hands a little forward. Keep the arms parallel and push up and come into a downward dog. So in your downward dog, you're going to try and have your upper body exactly the same way we had at the start of the class. So everything is lined up. You don't want your spine to be rounding forward. You don't want it to be arching back either. So if you're quite flexible, you don't want too much space between the front ribs and the front hips. You want to draw the lower ribs in as you extend the back ribs away from the hips. You want your arms to be leveled with your ears. Your head to be reaching towards the floor, somewhere between your hands. Your sit bones to be reaching diagonally upwards. Your legs to strongly reach for the floor, heels reaching for the ground, legs as straight as they can be. But if they are straight, then without pushing the knees too far back. And then the hands pushing, supporting your weight, but pushing away from the floor. I'm going to breathe here. Slowly shift the weight onto the left foot and without changing anything, except for moving the right leg, slowly bring your right leg up. Exhale, place the foot back down. Shift the weight. Inhale, only move the left leg up. Exhale, shift the weight. Come back to your downward dog and notice if it's changed. And inhale, bring your right leg up again. Now let's breathe with the right leg up. Find stillness. On an exhale, moving on the right leg, bring it as close, your knee as close to your chest as you can. You can drop the toes and bring it even closer. And then on an inhale, shift into a plank and bring the foot forward. We're going to come into a small lunge, so you can keep your toes under. First thing we're going to do is bring the right knee right over the right ankle. And then try and get that right thigh parallel to the ground. And then if you look down the front of your body, you're going to bring the left knee right underneath the left hip. So it's not a very wide lunge. You want a square angle in between the front thigh, in between the back thigh. And if you bring your arms out to the side, you should be able to be here the same way we were in Samasthiti. So taking a few breaths here. So you're expanding down, thinking about that central axis. The palms ever so slightly facing forward. And trying to find steadiness. So tailbone comes down, lower belly is engaged. Head is right over the center of the chest. So little back, chin slightly in. If you think about your nose, you want it to be the same plane as your chest bone and your navel. Now see if you can keep this very steady, and like we did standing, inhaling, raising the arms up, exhaling, bringing the arms down, moving only at the shoulder joints. So let's do this a few times with your own breath. And really notice what else is moving in your body. Some parts are moving with the arms, other parts are swaying. If it's comfortable, the next breath in, we're going to stay with the arms up and notice if we can keep them along that pain on that axis. If we can relax as we inhale, stretch along the axis without changing the alignment. Now we're going to try and keep our legs utterly steady and very slowly, with an exhale, but you might take a few breaths. You're going to hinge at the hips. You can actually bring your hands onto your hips if that helps. And you're not moving your legs, you're not moving, changing the alignment of your spine. You're just coming slightly forward. And your arms, so it could help to bring the hands on the hips to feel the alignments. It could help to have the arms forward to give you direction. Breathe here. And as you inhale, slowly come up. Exhale, bring your arms down. Let's bring the hands back around the front foot. Come up and step back into a plank. And let's see if we can stay in a steady plank with that same alignment in the body. So don't worry so much about your legs and arms. Keep them strong, supporting you, both of them equally. So there is work in the legs. And then feel that line through your body, from your hips to your ribs to your head. Push the floor away, extend, 3 points. And on an exhale, push back into downward dog. And coming back to again the straight line. So we might do this, you can stay downward dog if you like. If it's too much, you can drop your knees and just breathe along your spine. But you can also try to move from downward dog to plank with your breath and back by only moving the joints in the shoulders and the hips and the ankles. So for downward dog, my spine doesn't move. If I inhale, I'm just pushing. So I'm pushing with my toes, I'm lifting my heels up and shifting the angle of my shoulders and arms. I'm coming into a plank. My spine hasn't moved. As I exhale, I'm lifting my hips towards the ceiling. And I'm really keeping my spine steady. So you can do this a few times with your breath, trying to really focus on what's moving and what's not. Now, obviously, if you get any kind of cramps or anything like that, you gotta move out of it. But try and focus onto it. So maybe with an inhale, slowly moving into a plank. But maybe do it with a lot of breath, taking your time. Come into plank. And there might be an ever so slight movement of the head as you look a little forward into your plank. Starting with an exhale, slowly pushing back to downward dog, not moving the spine. You can stay in downward dog or do this one more time. And then coming to rest in downward dog. Or coming out of it, if you've had enough, coming down to your forearms or onto your knees. And then keeping your shape wherever you are. You could be on hands and knees again if that's better for you. You're going to shift the weight into the right foot without visibly moving. And then moving only the left leg. So again, slowly taking a few breaths, moving the left leg and keeping it up. And if we're not sure, was it steady or how did it happen, we can try and bring it down without moving anything else. Notice what happens if you focus on keeping it straight or if you let it bend, what you feel in the rest of your body. And maybe bring it back up again. Come back to the notion of your spine. So trying to have that alignment. Hips, ribs, heads, shoulders, elbows, wrists. And then without moving anything but the left leg, bring the left knee towards your chest. Let the left toe just move just over the floor. And then from here, doing that shifting to plank movement again. And then putting the foot down, bringing the right knee underneath the hips. If this is very hard on your knee, you can always double your mat or bring a blanket or something under the second knee, the back knee. You're going to come up, focus on that right angle, left knee right over the left ankle, left thigh parallel to the ground, and then right knee right under the right hip. So take a few breaths, adjust yourself, find those angles in your body, and then find your samasthiti, your mountain pose here. And notice, like, there's very small differences. For instance, in my own body, I find that in this side of the lunge, my left hip is much higher than my right hip. And I don't know if it is, or if I feel like it is, but I'm just basically trying to breathe and inhale length in the parts that I find lower, exhale soften the parts that I find higher. I'm trying to find a sensation of balance in my body. So you've got to transfer the weight equally between the right and the left leg also. So you're not leaning too far right, you're not leaning too far left. You're not leaning forward or back. So you can use the soles of your feet. Breathe here deeply, feeling that line going through your hips. Notice what's happening with your shoulders, with your neck, with your shins, with your ribs. Find the parts that are moving and see if you can slow them down and keep them steady. And then when you found the steadiness and the comfort, see if you can inhale and shift the shoulder joints to bring your arms up. Exhaling, bringing them down. So notice even your fingers, if your fingers are relaxed at the end of your arms, then don't move them. Or if you want to extend the fingers at the top, then keep them extended at the bottom as well. Make the adjustment consciously, and then keep the stillness into the hands, into the wrists, into the elbows. And if it feels okay, see if we can keep the arms up. So from hips to ribs to shoulders, head, elbows, this is the same position as downward dog. The only difference is in downward dog, we're flexing or extending the wrists to push against the ceiling or against the floor. So you could try and do that to see how it feels, or just concentrate on the rest of the joints in your body and that alignment. And just notice what is happening in the body. How hard is it to be still? And how hard are you trying as opposed to relaxing? Or maybe how soft are you getting using maybe a little bit of shape, a little bit of length as you're softening into the pose? Or maybe you're losing a little bit of relaxation as you're hardening into the pose. Try and find a balance in that state of effort to comfort. And if it feels good, if you're still here, you can maybe just swivel your hands to face them towards each other, or bring them onto your hips if you find it very difficult to keep your lower leg steady. Maybe gaze down to your leg. As you inhale, lengthen along that axis. As you exhale, pivot around your hips to bring your upper body forward. Maybe inhale, come back. So do it maybe with your breath. See what works for you. Maybe a couple of times, hands on the hips, so you notice that the hips stay. Well, the hips move. The hips are moving around the head of the thighs, but the thighs of either legs, both legs, they're very still. You can inhale to being upright. Exhale to swing, swivel forward. Not moving the head in relation to the ribs, not moving the ribs in relation to the hips. Keeping the arms, shoulders, and elbows to the side of the body, not forward, not back. Maybe doing it with the arms forward. Notice what difference it does in the body. And maybe staying in that forward lunge. Trying to find steadiness and alignment for a few breaths. And on an exhale, bring your hands down towards the floor. And so let's bring your feet together, your knees together. Push your hips back towards your heels. Drop your forehead onto the mat and bring your hands either side of your feet. And let's do the same exercise here. Notice how much easier it is to be steady. Then if anything is catching, you might have to adjust it or wiggle it. And then inhale, press your hands onto the floor. Come up and let's turn on our backs. Yes, let's turn on our backs first. So you're gonna lie down with your feet behind your hips. And just take a few breaths to notice if you are utterly still. And if you're not, if you feel like moving, then move to where you think you want to move, and then be steady again. This should be a pose that is mostly comfortable. There's no effort involved. Maybe ever so slightly to keep the knees from falling in and out or out, but if they're right into the axis of your hips, then this should be quite steady. Now we're gonna keep everything steady again, so you might brace yourself ever so slightly. Shift the weight into the left foot, and without moving anything else, lift the right foot off the ground and bring the right knee towards the chest. So there is going to be a movement in your spine, very likely. So you can just hover, maybe lower leg parallel to the floor, trying to be relaxed but still, and move the right knee over the right hip. And maybe you need to bring back into your upper body that feeling we had when we're upright or in downward dog, where you're only moving, like it's really the same movement we did from hands and knees and from downward dog, that bring the knee to the chest. So you can keep your legs semi-extended or very flexed and feel what difference that makes. And from here, so bringing the knee as close to the chest as you can, then let's bring your foot onto your left knee. And just find steadiness here before you do the next thing. And the next thing will be keeping the right ankle utterly steady, so there is no movement on the ankle, there is no movement in the spine, or at least focus on your spine, on your ankle, and slowly moving so on the thigh bone into the hip. Move your right knee out, like as in swiveling back towards the sides of your legs. And if you couldn't stay steady, then maybe bring it back and try and notice which part couldn't help from moving, and like brace it a little more, engage it a little more, and do it again. Really noticing what's going on. And if it's pulling ever so slightly into parts of your body. And then try and find steadiness somewhere with the knee open out to the side. Now depending, like for many of you, this is going to be, your knee isn't going to be so far out, so there isn't going to be much more movement available from here. But if your thighs are, I don't know about the geometry of that, your thighs are kind of parallel or, to each other, so the right thigh is moved quite far back out towards the same line as the left thigh, then you might be able to slide without so moving again with only the hip. You might slide the right foot a little across the left knee and move the right thigh a little further. That might not happen. Then you can brace your hands against the floor and keep your whole upper body very steady. On the next exhale, draw your navel towards your spine. Keep your spine nice and long and not moving the spine. See if you can shift, take the weight off the left foot And moving only the hips, bringing the left knee to your chest. And then you can experiment here and see what feels nice. See if you can move only at the left knee. So extending the left leg, and bending it again. And maybe as you bend it again, there's a little movement on the right hip so that the whole right lower legs comes a little more towards your chest. Maybe you're going to want to keep it more straight or totally flexed. Your arms are by the sides of your body. The shoulders are reaching down for the ground. Your neck is long. All of your spine is long. And we're going to reverse the movement. So taking your time, noticing what's moving. So maybe we're going to move only at the hip joints, not changing the angles of the knees. Slowly bringing the left foot back onto the floor. Taking a breath here. Maybe slowly sliding, moving only the right hip, sliding the foot a little out from the knee. And then making a wide circle with that right knee and bringing it back over the chest without moving the knee angle or the ankle angle, moving only the right hip. And from here, still moving on the right hip, trying to keep the rest of the body utterly still, putting the right foot back on the ground. And come back to stillness. So notice how easy or hard it is to be still. Survey your body. Sometimes there's ever so small twitches in the muscles and the joints. Just notice which part find it difficult to be still. And then moving the weight onto the right foot. Maybe ever so slightly bracing yourself against the earth. Focusing on keeping that relationship between the hips and the ribs and the head, utterly steady. Very slowly, in a lot of slow, deep breath, lift the left foot off the ground and first only move the hip. So don't change the ankle, don't change the knee. Only move your thigh towards your chest. And maybe do it a few times. Maybe you want to move the knee, maybe you want to extend the leg a little bit. Then do it. But notice what you want to do. And then when you're doing it, notice if you're doing what you were feeling like doing. So everything is controlled. So moving the knee, the thigh angle back and forth on the chest. Trying to keep the lower back steady. And if you want to match your breath to your movement, then you might exhale when the knee comes towards the chest and inhale as it moves away. But maybe you want to move slower than your breath. So pick your rhythm. And then slowly keep that thigh as close to the chest as you can. And maybe you're gonna open the knee angle and keeping the thigh steady. Notice what moves when you extend the leg. Bringing the lower leg so that the foot is over the right knee. Keeping the angle of the ankle and knee steady. Move your knee out, your thigh out to the side so that you can bring the left heel onto the right knee. Find steadiness here. And then, without moving anything else, just moving the left thigh away. And notice where it's pulling in your body. If the right side of your lower back is lifting or the right hip, maybe bring it back. Find steadiness, find where you need a little more engagement to keep the alignment. And let it come up to the side. And then when you're as far out as it goes, you might slide the ankle ever so slightly across the right knee. Maybe, maybe not. And you might stay here and just breathe and relax, especially if your hips are really tight. That might be just enough. Or you can brace yourself against the floor. Find your alignment first. So hips, ribs, head. Notice if it's changed, if you can be a little longer from hips to crown of the head, from tail to head. And as you exhale and draw your navel towards your spine, engaging the lower abdomen, maybe lifting the toes of the right foot, trying to keep that right leg very steady and working to lift the right heel off the floor without moving anything but the right hip. So again, as many breaths as you like. Oh, it just goes. Sorry. And if you feel like you've moved too much, then start again. And as you breathe, maybe keep moving the right hip until it brings a movement into the left hip. But nothing else is moving. And every now and then, like maybe take a breath to be still and notice if you're tense, if you can release some of the tensions you don't need. And then start again to move a little further in. And then if it's not comfortable, then move further back out and find a place where it's going to feel nice. And then when you find that place, maybe play with the angle of the right knee. What happens if you extend the right leg, moving nothing else? Where do you feel it? And you can move the knee, and then at the end of the knee movement, move the ankle. What happens when you point the foot, flex the foot. And then relaxing the lower leg, ever so slowly. Bring your right foot back onto the ground, moving nothing else. Ever so slowly slide the right ankle back towards so that just the heel is touching the right knee. And then pivoting the thigh into the hip joint, bringing the left knee back to your chest. Bringing the lower leg back to parallel. And ever so slowly bringing the left foot back onto the ground. And then here you can take a deep stretch. And you can do the relaxation in Shavasana, or because that class has been ever so slow, possibly one of the slowest ever, and you don't want to go back into a stupor to start your day, then you can take your relaxation sitting upright. And maybe sitting upright, leaning, like sitting up to a cushion and leaning in, or anything that feels good. Or if you do want Shavasana, take Shavasana. It's really up to you. So, whichever way you're going to be, let's find stillness again. So that for the next few minutes, you can remain without moving. And whether you're sitting cross-legged or lying down in Shavasana pose, this is actually why we're doing asana practice in yoga traditionally, is to be able to find stillness for meditation. So it's to allow our body to be soft enough and strong enough to keep that alignment of your pelvis, rib cage and head with the lower part of your body rooting into the ground, feeling strong and steady and anchoring you. It's root. So whichever part of your body is against the floor, you can draw energy from the ground and you can push back into it. So it could be the whole backside of your body if you're lying down. It could be your sit bones, your thighs, parts of your legs. Whichever it is, feel that contact. Feel the temperature of the earth around you, underneath you. Feel the support. Feel how you can rest. Maybe feel how you can let go of all the tensions from the upper layer of your body down to that bottom layer, down to what touches the ground. Find what's happening between the stillness and the movement of the breath. Can you find stillness from the earth? And let it seep into your body, giving you that steadiness, that comfort. Notice the weight of your hips, parts of your hips that are in contact with the floor. The parts of your hips where your legs are attached. Letting them be completely relaxed. And as you breathe, let that relaxation move down your legs. Letting all parts of your legs be totally relaxed. Soft and drawn by the earth. Notice the midsection of your body. The soft part between the hips and the ribs. Let it be totally relaxed and loose. Let the breath rock it. And maybe look for the stillness in your middle body, the very top of the inhale, and at the very end of the exhale. There are two very still moments in between each breath. Notice your ribs, your chest, your upper back, shoulder blades, the back of your rib cage. Let the shoulder blade melt down into the ground if you're lying down, or just sliding down, relaxing down the back of the rib cage if you're sitting. Let your in-breath be light and full, helping you to stand, to feel more upright, more tall, without making any extra effort. Notice your head drawn towards the sky. And maybe if you're lying down, maybe it's more your heart. Whichever it is, feel that lifting up towards the sky. And that soft landing. Imagine yourself like a feather in a very gentle breeze. Or like a tree strong roots holding you into the ground. Constant movement of the breath in your leaves. It's a deep stillness within you. And there's a softness and a reaction to the elements outside you. And the meet in the middle. You're still, but you're aware. You're rooted, and you're alight. You're strong, and you're soft. You're at peace, and yet you observe the flows. Whenever you're ready, if you're lying down, make your way up to sitting. And let's join our hands in front of our heart. And as we're all practicing together in different places, let's feel each other's energy. Sharing what we have, receiving what we need. Wishing peace and joy to each other and to every being around us. Let's gather the energy from your practice to the palms of your hands. Feel the energy rising up in your hands right now. And let's rub it. And as we're bringing it to our body, you might feel you're also bringing it to anybody that you would like to touch these days, and you can't. So bring your hands to your face. Hug your shoulders. Touch your beautiful heart. Your hips, knees, and feet. And bring your hands back to your chest. Namaste. Thank you for watching. Have a beautiful day. There will be an Ashtanga class tomorrow morning, so if you're not in the Ashtanga WhatsApp group, give me a text and I will share. I'll probably do this on Zoom because it's quite good to
to see you for it. All right. Have a great day. Bye.